If arguably the greatest defensive player ever is no longer a part of this team, that's a hole that maybe 3 players in the history of football can fill. None of them are currently in the league, and none of them are currently on this roster. So the Los Angeles Rams, the actual possible Super Bowl contenders that isn't the obvious from this division, in 2023, it was expected to be a very down year for the Rams. We didn't know what Stafford's health was going to look like. He was getting older. Cooper Kupp ended up getting hurt again. We didn't know who he was going to throw to. No one knew who Puka Nacua was. Aaron Donald was on the brink of retirement. No, boy, did they shut us up. 10-7, made it into the playoffs. A chronically overperforming defense. Shout out to them. And some rookie from BYU of all places, a wide receiver with a name that most people can't pronounce, it's Puka Nacua, by the way, stepped up in the place of the former Triple Crown winner and broke the rookie receiving yards record. Aaron Donald still looked awesome. Matt Stafford, same thing, and it turns out that Sean McVay guy is still a really good coach. Who would have guessed? Unfortunately, their season was ended by America's sweetheart, the Detroit Lions. That overperforming defense lost their general and their captain with Raheem Morris, now the head coach of the Falcons, and Aaron Donald retired. For now, we'll get there shortly. But I look at this team for this year and I say, depending on how quickly Jared Verse and Brendan Fisk, their first and third round draft pick respectively in this past draft, can come along and join this defense and be impactful. To answer my usual first question for the season, between what's more likely for this team, a Super Bowl or miss the playoffs, I think it's way more likely they make the Super Bowl than miss the playoffs. Before we get back to that defense, I think this offense can be incredible. I look at this offense and I see what could possibly be a better version of what they had in that 2018 Super Bowl where they lost to my Patriots. And now that Sean McVay's a little older and a little over himself, and Bill Belichick's not a coach in the league anymore, he's not going to get completely pants in the Super Bowl in front of the whole world. You had the emergence of Kyron Williams last year and adding Blake Corum, who I think was a steal of the draft. I know we don't value running backs anymore, but I think he was awesome at Michigan. I think he'll be awesome again in the league. Size be damned. Lord willing, we get a full season of Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua together, and as far as we know at the moment, Matt Stafford's back looks to be fully intact. So we're good on that front as well. And not to mention they got one of the best head coaches in the league. They also made improvements on the offensive line in ways that I appreciate. Bringing in Jonah Jackson from the Lions, who I guess they liked what they saw in that playoff game so much, they were like, sure, bring him over. I guess Aaron Donald, that was like his last little recommendation letter. He was like, hey, that guy that blocked me in my last game for a lot of it, hey, bring him in. You look at the Rams last year and what they did against top-rated pass defenses. Against the Ravens, Browns, 49ers, and Saints. Ranked 1 through 6, somewhere in that order in there for their pass defenses. The Rams were 3-1, averaged just under 30 points a game. Then that one loss was that punt return for a touchdown in overtime. So as I'm looking at their schedule, they do have some tough defenses, pass defenses they're going to be going against this year as well. Going against the Jets, the 49ers twice, obviously, the Saints again, the Vikings, who will blitz your soul away, Dolphins, Bills, Eagles, Raiders, Patriots, Bears. But they've already shown what they can do, and those are based on last year's rankings. I don't expect those teams to be as good again this year. I really do think there's a world where this Rams offense is setting the world on fire. And by week 5 or 6, we're looking at them and the 49ers, and we're like, are the best two teams in the NFC in the same division? There's one thing that's getting in the way of that, though. This Rams defense raises a lot of questions. Most notably, if arguably the greatest defensive player ever, Aaron Donald, is no longer a part of this team, that's a hole that maybe 3 players in the history of football can fill. None of them are currently in the league, and none of them are currently on this roster. As good as Kobe Turner was last year, as good as I believe Jared Verse and Brendan Fisk eventually will be in the league, you don't fill the hole of Aaron Donald. Although I do have a theory that we may be seeing Aaron Donald return at some point this year. At the time I'm recording this, it is August 20th at about 7:40 p.m. The season ain't for another like 3 weeks. So to me, there's a very realistic world where Aaron Donald's on the couch getting antsy and he's like, I miss throwing 300-pound men into other 300-pound men. I should probably go do that again. And I don't doubt that he's in shape to go do it. So keep your mind on that. But let's move on to the assumption that he isn't. A lot of what contributed to this overperforming defense last year was Raheem Morris's incredible coaching. Yes, that's why he's now the head coach of the Falcons. And if you look at the film, you'll see, yes, Aaron Donald was attracting 3, sometimes 4 defenders against them when it comes to defending him against the pass, and shit, even sometimes against the run. So that does free up a Kobe Turner to go make some noise and make something happen. I don't think it's an unrealistic question to ask. It's one thing if they're missing one of those pieces. They're missing both. And as much as I think this offense is going to be spectacular going into this year, you could only win but so many games 45-42. Ask Drew Brees in the end of that Saints tenure. But if this defense can hold it together and at least meet the level they were at the second half of last season, I really, in the core of my bones, think this team could be special. Genuinely special.